Good evening and happy Monday. This is the Sex, Politics, and Religion Hour, Spar with Jamila. This is the show where I love to talk about all of those things that my mother has always warned me I should never raise in polite conversation. Sorry, Mom, it's kind of what I do for a living. I am a champion of the First Amendment, and as such, I am just delighted and overjoyed to be able to have with me one of my favorite comedians. She is indeed a very funny lady. That's not just the tagline on her website. Leanne Lord, thank you so much for being with me this evening.
Oh, no, thank you for the invitation. I cannot tell you how much you have made my day and my week.
Ooh, well, it's just going to be about a bunch of fans in here. But in the meantime, first and foremost, because I don't want to forget, because you and I are going to talk a whole lot, let my listeners know where they can find you in advance, so that way I know I get this out of the way.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that. Anybody who is interested can find me at veryfunnylady.com. And I hasten to tell people that's not a declaration, that's an aspiration, because I think I'm funny, and I hope other people do as well. But my parents saddled me with a name that can't nobody spell unless you love me. So that's why, veryfunnylady.com. It's easy to remember, sober, drunk, whatever. It's like, nice there, veryfunnylady.com. There you go.
Yay. So, Very Funny Lady, you're the first person I thought of when it came time to have this conversation. It was going to be a when conversation and not an if. And it's this one. Saturday Night Live and its history. And it's, and it's 3-decade plus history. Has had 4 FOUR, 4 Black women as cast members on it. There have been featured performers. There have been guest hosts. And what would the elections have been in 2008 and 2012 without Queen Latifah? But anyhow, I digress. Kerry Washington this past Saturday hosted Saturday Night Live, and for all of those of us who are tired of watching Kenan Thompson in a dress, portraying every Black woman that shows up on SNL, we were really happy to say, hey, Kerry Washington. The problem, as I see it, and I'm going to call it a problem, is this. Her material, she stretched. She did the best she could do with what she had. But SNL really let it be known and shown that they don't know what to do when it comes to having a Black woman. They don't really write the voice. They don't really write the dialogue. And frankly, a lot of us were disappointed. We feel that, the criticism of not having a Black woman on that cast needs to go deeper. It needs to say, look, SNL, you also don't have anybody who can write Black women, or you don't have any Black women writers on your staff. And boy, were you caught with your church hat off.
Exactly. Well, there are a couple of issues there. When, the comment came out, about Black women not being ready, which I'm not even going to address Kenan personally. Maybe he got caught out there. You know how that is. Somebody catches you and you make a comment and it's moving out what you wanted to say. That's fine. I'm not going to attack the man. I'm going to thank him for bringing this issue up, and giving us the opportunity to talk about it. Kerry Washington, while very talented, my question is, what kind of comedic training does she have? You understand what I'm saying? You could be a very talented actress. Does that make you a comedic actress? Does that make you an improv specialist? Does that make you a comedian? So there are some very special skills that need to be brought to bear. You don't just put, forgive the phrase, a black face on it.
Ooh, you said blackface.
I did.
So let me get this right. Okay, let's be real. So Saturday Night Live, which has long drawn on comedic actors they got from the Second City. The Second City, which has a diversity training program, which isn't just about Black women. It's about Hispanics. It's about, gay, lesbian. I don't know if there are any transgender performers who came out of Second City, but I will do that research. So there is a place that's already a feeder into Lorne Michaels' show that has a whole bunch of people. I I can't remember. I'm so mad, Leanne. I can't remember the name of that other sketch comedy show, and it's making me mad because I can't remember what it was that had all these black women on it that were hilarious.
Are you talking about Mad TV?
Oh, Mad TV. How could I forget?
And not because it made you mad. That's like you were trying to give yourself a hint.
I number one am incensed because as a writer, it infuriates me to be told that I don't exist. Because, as quiet as it's kept, I am not a stranger to comedy writing, okay? Right. And I understand how hard it is, which is why I do journalism, because comedy and journalism are both about the timing. This is what I'm doing. Anyhow, there are a number of very talented, very funny improv performers and stand-up performers, and I guess because Kel's friend is what Lorne Michaels like, he got to say, oh, well, black women aren't ready for this. It's like, you weren't even a funny one. You haven't been funny since before you did Good Burger. Are you serious?
Oh, that's serious. Well, look, here's this thing. There are many topics here. You cannot find what you're not looking for. So clearly they're okay with what they had. Had this comment not happened, that they would be rolling along business as usual. So the issues that are coming out, well, why aren't you having black women? Because there are plenty of us, many already. And I'm not even saying it has to be me, it has to be you. But we are talking, and you addressed this in your opening remarks, there's stuff that has to be changed across the board. You need people in that writer's room who get the voice. And it's not just, well, you hung out with a couple of black people in college. That's not the qualification that's going to cut it for this.
Yeah. You go to reggae clubs every so often.
Right. And the other thing that I found, speaking to civilians or daywalkers, as I call them, people who have regular jobs, respectable sort of living, a lot of folks were saying, well, I don't watch Saturday Night Live. Is that still on? Are you kidding me? Yes, it's still on. Maybe you're not watching because you're not seeing yourself. That could be a problem. And regardless of whether you're watching or not, somebody is. And guess who they're not seeing? Yeah. And the more that gap is not being filled, you might have the subconscious belief that, well, maybe black women aren't ready. Maybe they're not qualified. Maybe they're not funny, because if they were, they'd be there. That's
of all the places,
the pinnacle of places that people strive to be. They're not there, so what's going on? Maybe they don't exist. I actually had somebody say to me, well, how many black female comedians are there? I'm like, a head count is irrelevant if you don't think we're funny. I could tell you there are 10,000. That's not going to change your mind if you don't see us in those positions already.
And that issue of visibility is one that's come up quite a bit in just my show this very evening. Before you, I had on a writer, a music writer out of Atlanta, Shannon Barber, dear friend of mine. I've been reading her and learning about music from her for a long time. And she brought that up as we talked about the Black Girls Rock event that aired last night. If you don't see yourself represented, you may not even know that you aspire to do that.
Exactly.
If I hadn't seen, okay, I'm going to tell you mine if you tell me yours. Okay, I remember watching Star Search, and I remember seeing Sinbad.
Oh my! Okay.
And I remember, and then I don't remember if she was on Star Search, but Sinbad was the one that made me go, oh, I want to do that. But when I saw Kim Coles and her round brown gorgeousness, and she looked just like me, except her teeth weren't gapped. I have a thing for people with gap teeth. I was like, oh yes, I can do that. When I talked to some of my girlfriends, a reporter friend of mine said, I remember seeing Connie Chung, and she looked just like me. And I'm like, there you go. That ability to say and to see myself, I knew I could do that.
It makes a difference.
It really does.
I remember being, in the interest of you show me yours, I'll show you mine. I was completely transfixed when I saw Marsha Warfield. I'm like, here's a grown black woman speaking her mind.
Ain't take no
funny
mess.
As hell. You know, I was like, oh, where have you been all my life?
Yes.
You know, I remember seeing, I don't know if you know this name, because I don't think she does stand up anymore, Dr. Bertice Berry.
Bertice Berry with that talk show. Bertice Berry is the one that made me say, oh, I'm going to get in front of a microphone and tell people about themselves.
Exactly, and be smart.
With a PhD, Dr. Bertice Berry.
Doctor, yes.
She told me once, I had the opportunity of meeting her when I was still in college, and she said that one of the things she does when she teaches a sociology class and she teaches about racism, she pairs up a beautiful white girl with a black male student. I don't know how good looking he was, but the point is she sent these young, 20-year-olds or so into a jewelry store and says, you have to tell them that you are engaged, you want to get married, you want to look at rings, and write me a paper on how they treat you. Write me a paper on the things that they say. And I'm like, well, if it's not going back to the jester, making the points that nobody else can make.
Exactly.
Yeah, Bertice Berry. Oh, we are separated at birth, twins, Leanne.
Oh, I know we are.
Oh, my goodness.
We are.
The next thing you're going to tell me, you're going to tell me that you're on some billboard talking about if you don't believe in God, you're not alone.
Well, then I guess I might have to say that.
Oh, my goodness. You're a black woman, and you're Jesus didn't give you your comedic ability? What?
No.
Oh.
Not. Now, it hasn't given me things to poke fun at, absolutely. Well, I'll amen that.
Yes. This is, it is in moments like these that I just really love to be able to say, hey, I'm an American and I have First Amendment protection to say whatever the bleepity bleep I want.
Thank you.
And because of that, wow, you, I, and a whole lot of other people who do look as we do and who do not look as we do are a whole lot alike. If we would just talk to more people and laugh with more people, I think we would all be a happier planet and a happier country. But there I go with my kumbayas again.
Well, you have to have those. We have to have hope. President Obama notwithstanding, you're not the only one that deals in it. But that was the whole point, I think, of this campaign and the one prior, which was not necessarily to, run into churches and snatch folks out, but to let the folks who are already doubting know, hey, you know what, it's okay. Mm-hmm. You're not by yourself. Let's talk to some people. Talk to folks who are just like you, not to change your mind, but to commiserate, to create that community, to create that sense of you are not out there by yourself.
Yay. So for those of us who have for a very long time believed that we are alone and that we are by ourselves and that there's no one else like us, I have been delighted to be able to go to various conventions and whatnot and meet other folks. I'm not willing to wait till next year's American Atheist Convention in Utah, mind you, Salt Lake City, over Easter weekend. I will absolutely be there. But I don't want to wait that long. Where can I come see you, maybe see you perform? What is going on your calendar, Leanne Lord?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I do, like I said, right up front, I do keep my calendar up to date on my website, which is veryfunnylady.com. And at the moment, my gigs are keeping me local. And local for me is New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, some Pennsylvania. But yeah, no. And I always tell people, if I'm not at where you want me to be, let me know. Like, Leanne, when you coming to Kansas? Well, what club you got in Kansas?
D.C.
We gonna work on it.
D.C.
Oh, man, I would love to come down to D.C. I haven't been down to D.C. and D.C. proper in a very long time. I was recently there. I did a show for the Maryland Children's Alliance, which was amazing. Those were folks that work with children who are in the system and abused. And I went, and my inner child felt so safe. I could not believe it. Like, y'all are great.
Oh, that's wonderful. So we have to figure out how I can get and see you in live in concert and just check out the fact that we might actually be separated at birth. Twins.
I know we are. We are kindred spirits.
Indeed. So you know what? Back for the moment though to SNL now. You know, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King had a dream that, someday Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, I guess people who are funny and people who are not, could sit down at the table of brotherhood. I wonder if you have a dream that involves Lorne Michaels and what needs to happen on that show.
Well, let me say this. While it's great that we'll have, someone of Kerry Washington's caliber host, that's one job, that's one night, that's one check. I want to see a sister, not necessarily me. Would it be great if it were me? Absolutely. Dog food costs money. But to have a sister on there for their 13, whatever episode run, whatever their season is, getting that check week in, week out, and having that presence there, because I think there's a direct economic ripple effect. Because we're seeing her, she's getting opportunities. She, just by her being there, is creating opportunities for other black women. Because she can't be everywhere. Like, we want to say it's you. Jamila's on Saturday Night Live. We love her, but we can't get her. Well, who else is available? We start asking those questions. Those jobs and opportunities start opening up. So my thing is, if we, and forgive the Star Trek reference, but if we could have a black woman on the bridge of Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh, yes.
We can have one on Saturday Night Live, and not one a decade.
Oh.
We can do better than that. So that is my dream.
That is, and I hope to hold your hand and walk together to the comedic table of comedians don't go to tables, we go to bars. Well, anyway, we're going somewhere. Hand in hand.
Somewhere.
I want to thank you so much for being with me, Leanne Lord, the very funny lady, veryfunnylady.com. Please check her out. She is awesome. And I have to admit, I'm like all fangirl right up about now. This has been the Sex, Politics, and Religion Hour, Spar with Jamila. I'll be back here Wednesday night. Please join me then.